Hi, I'm Louisa Ashforth from LA Training Academy, Creating Salon Success, and I'm here today with John Covey, and he is a business coach, and we're going to talk today. Hi, John. We're going to talk today about time management and how important it is in your business and your personal life. So if you want to just introduce yourself, John, and tell us a little bit more about yourself and what it is that you do, please.
Absolutely. Thank you, Louisa, and hello, everybody. So, yeah, my name is John Covey. I am a business coach. I like to kind of classify it a little bit more of a high-performance coach. So I help you with not just yourself or your strategies, but I help you with a full suite of things, really. So I help you get out your own way. I help you have the right systems. I help you with the online marketing. So I really become a partner to people in terms of helping them take their life and their business to the places that they really want to go. And I think that where they want to go is probably the people can tell you what they don't want, but they really struggle to tell you what it is that they do want. So part of my job really is to prod and probe and provoke to try and find some real deep, meaningful answers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is so true, that, isn't it? It's so easy for us to say, well, I don't want this and I don't want that, but then it's almost like we're a bit scared to say what we want, whether it's because fear won't happen, or I don't know.
Yeah, I believe so. I think there's a lot of things there, and I think a lot of it is down to conditioning, and so part of what I do with not all clients, but some of them, they do need a little bit of deconditioning. So we need to be able to take away some of their limiting beliefs, the stories that they've told themselves over the years, through whether that's experience or just beliefs that they've been passed on.
Yeah, I find that actually, because a lot of the time when I'm speaking to people, or even myself, some of the stuff that you might have been told by your parents, or like regarding, I mean, one of my, it's not a favourite one, but it's probably one of my most annoying ones, that when you're self-employed, if you're working loads of hours, which you often do and you can end up doing, if I'm ever moaning to somebody or going, oh my gosh, I've worked this many hours today, or I've done this, I've done that, as we can get into that spiral, the common answer is, that's what you do when you're self-employed. And I used to think, oh, right. And then it started to actually wind me up, because I just thought, hang on a minute, when were you self-employed? And it's often people who aren't self-employed. Yeah, exactly. So what, obviously, I think with when it comes to working hours, when you're self-employed, you can work a lot of hours. So how would you sort of suggest that we structure our lives so that we don't work so many hours? What
I think, yeah, totally. I mean, I think that there was a fantastic quote, one that I'm a massive fan of, by a guy called Jim Rohn. I'm sure you're very familiar with him. Yeah, maybe your audience is as well. And Jim Rohn said, Jim Rohn was Tony Robbins' original coach. He was his coach.
Right.
And one of the things that he said was that success leaves clues. Okay. And I think that the danger that we have today is that we spend way too much time trying to reinvent the wheel, when actually everything that we really need is we just need to find somebody that's already achieved the thing that we want. And it's really interesting that you say people who's not in a position to give us advice often are the ones that give us advice. They'll tell you, this is what I would do if I was you, or let's just say you've come into some money, and you'll often find friends or family who's got no money saying, if I was you, this is what I'd do right now.
Yeah.
You know, and so I say, with a little bit of tongue in cheek, you wouldn't take advice from somebody telling you to buy a Ferrari, because what do they know about getting a Ferrari? They've not got one. And there's nothing wrong with a Ford Escort. You know, again, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the car, but you want to find people who's done the things that you are trying to do. They're the best people to learn from, because they've already done it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And so often I think you sort of spend your time asking so many people, almost until you get the answer that you think you want. You know, like there's been times I've been asked questions, I've given an answer, and I'm thinking, and then I don't know, somebody will go around the houses and tell me they've spoken to this person and that person, and then you think, well, why did you ask me in the first place? And I might have given them the advice based on my experience in that field, and then they've gone and asked so many people who are not even in that field.
Because the answer you've given them is not the one that they want.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And I think that again is a conditioned behaviour, you see, because what science has taught us throughout our life is that if you show me how something works, I'll believe you.
yeah,
Whereas we know when we're in business or when we're trying to manifest things and make things become a reality, we have to show it us. You know,
yeah.
we have to believe it's possible first before we get the result. And it's a very hard shift and transition for a lot of people to get that, because they are conditioned to need evidence first. And that's the way that we work as human beings. Is we're going to ask somebody for advice, and we're looking for that thing that can show us it's been done already. And once it's been done already, we can have faith and belief that it's possible of being done, so then we can actually then go out there and replicate and do it. Now, if we don't have that belief, if we don't have that certainty, well, if you don't believe that something's possible, how much action do you think you're going to take to actually achieve it? Probably very little.
Yeah, you're not very motivated, are you?
You're not very much.
You see it, you think, I want that, I want a taste of that. Yeah.
And the action that you take, yeah. And so if you're not very motivated and the action you take is very little, what kind of results do you think you're going to get?
Very little.
Very little. And if you get very little results, guess what that does to your mindset?
It's not very good.
Not very good. It tells you actually you were right. No, maybe I shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
And so we find ourselves in this vicious cycle going around and round and round. And I think that the real danger there is because we're taking a lot of information from a lot of different people, and it almost isolates us, because we're waiting, as you rightly said, for the information that resonates the most with ourselves, because that's the answer that we want, not the answer that, and you know, the truth is ugly often.
Yeah. If you don't say what people want to hear, they often don't like it, do they? And the truth is, as they say.
Of course. So, I mean, to answer the original question about in terms of how to manage the time effectively,
yeah,
I think that we are where we are right now in the time and space, and I don't mean just because of the quarantine situation, the era that we're now in.
Yeah,
we've never had things so easy. You know, everything's done for us. Everything's easily accessible. We can broadcast a message and be across the entire world instantly. And so we've become very much a society of doers. So we'll just do, we'll write a to-do list. And some of us who's really organised will probably have a to-do list for a to-do list. I don't know. I'm sure you could probably relate to that, or you know people who do.
I do know people that do. I am the worst person for planning. I have learned, obviously, that is the way forward, and I am a good planner now, and a lot better than I used to be. But yeah, people, I find to-do lists a little bit frustrating. So when people have a to-do list for a to-do list, you can imagine I'm even more frustrated. But
of course.
you need a little to-do list because it structures us a bit more, doesn't it? And I find I do get more done when I've got a little bit of structure.
And you do need that structure, absolutely 100%. But I think that the problem is that, and so what they'll do is they'll just go out there and be busy, because being busy makes them feel good.
But then they're not.
And it makes them, it makes them feel like they're doing something. So the first thing that for you to really, or for anybody to manage their time effectively, the very first question should be, what's the outcome?
Okay.
What do I want to achieve? What's the outcome? Because if you don't know what it is you're trying to achieve, I mean, if you look at this on a life scale, let's say that you reach the end of your life and you live to 90, 100 years old. Well, if you don't know how can you determine how to spend your days?
Yeah.
You don't know what to do on a day-to-day basis if you don't know what your life is going to shape out to be. So you need to think about the outcome first. Like, what is it that I want to achieve? Whether that's on a daily basis, a monthly basis, a yearly basis, or 3 to 5 year basis. Like, what's the outcome?
Okay.
And
I suppose I didn't take.
It's almost reverse engineering. It's looking at, in fact, the fantastic author who's no relation to me, actually, Stephen Covey.
Okay.
He written an incredible book called The 7 Habits of Highly.
Oh yeah, did you share something on Facebook about that, or I've seen something recently on that book?
Well, possibly. I mean, in fact, yeah, I did actually. It was someone who mentioned it. There's a way, actually, yeah. So it's an incredible book. There's no relation to myself, well, not that I'm aware of, other than we share the same great hair. but one of the but one of the habits that it talks about is start with the end in mind.
Right.
And I think that when you are naturally what I call it, what's known as a red personality type, someone who's an action taker, well, it's very hard for you to start with the end in mind because you just want to start. You don't want to wait around. You just want to get going and move.
I think that's me. Yeah.
So
I'm an action person, but
yeah. So for a red personality type, an action person, it's very difficult for them to pull themselves back, as you just said. You've learned to master that now.
Yeah.
But initially, it's very challenging to be able to do that because we want to just go. But
yeah.
unless we're running in the right direction or digging the hole in the right place, it doesn't make a difference how hard or fast we work. If it's not in the right place, we're never going to find gold. So we've got to have a strategy first to back it up. And so the best way to manage time is to be very clear about what it is that you want to achieve. What's the outcome?
Right.
Because when we don't have that outcome in place, three things is going to happen. If we don't know what we're trying to do, the very first thing that may happen is we'll start trying to find something that's wrong. The pain. We'll look for something that's not happening. It's like, business is not growing, government's not supporting me, I've got no money, no one's buying my product. We're naturally going to move towards the pain first. And we're going to look for everything that's wrong with it. And if it's not the pain that we go for, the second thing that we'll go for is the pleasure. So it's like, okay, do you know what? This ain't working right now. I need to go and get some chocolate. I'm going to have some cake.
Oh, that's me as well. Gosh.
Cake. Or we get some chocolate, or maybe even a drink. Joe, sod it. I'm getting the wine open. I need some wine. Because what that does is it brings pleasure. Okay. So it moves us out of that state, that feeling of this is not working.
Right. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Or the third thing, the kind of final thing is if we haven't been looking for pain or pleasure, we then become controlled by other people's demands. So it's like, okay, what do other people need? I need this now, John, and I've got to have that today, and that's urgent, and this is urgent. And then everyone else's urgent things take priority over the thing that's important to you.
Right. I think I'm going to have to read this book, because this is this does resonate with me quite a bit, actually.
Well, this is not out of the book. This is just the stuff that I teach people in terms of, this is just stuff I talk to people about in terms of how they can manage the time effectively. And I think that if you think about it, realistically speaking, if you're constantly looking for things that's wrong, if you're looking for the pain, or if you're constantly trying to cheat yourself and trying to find pleasure, or you're being controlled by other people, is it any wonder that everyone's stressed?
No. When you put it like that, no.
Yeah. Everyone's stressed because they want to be doing their things, but they don't know what their things are, so they're getting pulled here, there, and everywhere, and they're not having time to do their things, but they don't know what it is, so it just leaves them overwhelmed and frustrated and stressed.
Yeah. Wow.
So it really comes down to knowing, really, the first thing is knowing the outcome, Joe. What is it that you want to achieve? Because, like, when you know what that is, and focus is power. Like, focus is real power. When you can focus in on something and take control of it, then you've got power. You've got power over the things. And you've got to think about time in terms of how that time's then used. We've all done something that's fun. Like, you've done things that's fun that you really enjoy doing, whether that is, getting into your marketing for your business, working on your programs, helping somebody, coaching somebody. That's fun. And you look at your watch and you think, bloody hell, where's that last 2 hours gone?
Yeah, true.
Yeah. But then there's other times when things aren't fun. And you look at your clock and you think, bloody hell, I thought I'd been doing this for half an hour. It's only 5 minutes.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you look again thinking, surely half an hour now. 2 minutes later, what's going on? So time is a bit of a vacuum. It's depending on how you're feeling towards it. So for a lot of people trying to manage time, which is ultimately what we're talking about now, is time management. For a lot of people to try and manage time, it's going to be always challenging for them because we know that good things go fast, bad things go slow. And unfortunately, part of business is doing some of the bad stuff. In fact, a lot of business is doing some of the bad stuff. So you've got to do you got to do the bad because without the bad, you can't appreciate the good.
True.
There's a polarity shift going on. Yeah. So like, and it's same with the income. You know, this is something I shared the other week, is that you can't appreciate a good payday unless you've had a bad payday.
Yeah.
And it's just one of the natural laws of the universe is everything has an opposite. You know, you can't have a good day without a bad day. You can't be, you know, unless you've had a bad partner. You can't appreciate a good business day unless you've had a bad business. Like, a book's got a start and a finish. We've got an up and a down, a left and a right. Like, everything has the opposites. And so we can't allow that frustration when we've got a bad day or a bad financial situation to be the thing that's steering you out of control. So time really is just emotion. So it's not about managing time. It's about managing emotion.
Yeah.
And when you can start to manage the emotion, everything becomes more enjoyable.
Oh, when you think about it like that, it's quite obvious, but you don't. I've often referred to myself as a bit of an emotional eater, because I do. If I'm sort of in the middle of something, and I actually weirdly like all of the working on the business stuff. However, sometimes things are difficult, or I don't understand it, and then I'll try and work through it, and I'm just like, oh, I need food, I can't think, and then I go off and I go and get food. But maybe I didn't need the food. Maybe a 5-minute walk would have been beneficial.
Well, yeah, I mean, and there's lots of techniques to do that as well. I mean, there's a vlog on, probably about 4 years ago now, a technique called the Pomodoro Technique.
Right.
And so the idea behind the Pomodoro Technique is that you set a stopwatch or an alarm on your phone. There's actually an app that you can get from the App Store as well called Pomodoro Timer. And basically you set a timer for 20 minutes.
Yeah. And
for 20 minutes, you work purely just on one thing. Excuse me. You don't get distracted by social media. You don't get distracted by emails. Nobody can come and speak to you. You're off bounds. You're kind of off grid. Just for 20 minutes, and then your alarm goes off. And what that allows you to do is to get up and stretch your legs, go for a walk, make a coffee, and you've got 4 minutes to burn to be able to just get some headspace back again. And then you do it again, and you repeat this process 3 times, and then take an hour break.
Oh.
And then do it again. And it's been proven to really increase productivity because it's focused, like really kind of focused 20 minutes times. Now, you've got to understand yourself, Joe. For some people, that might not work, but I think that anyone that's prepared to test it they'll see that there's a lot of gains to be had from that as well. It's good. It's called the Pomodoro Technique.
Pomodoro Technique. I like that because I get so engrossed in what I'm doing. I could, like you just said, hours can go by and I don't even realise. But I suppose you are losing a bit of momentum because you're so, like, I don't know, my eyes have gone blurred because I've been non-stop. But maybe if you just get up and, I always think, I don't want to get up yet. I'm in the middle of it. I'm in the zone. I don't want to get up. But I suppose, again, that's about some discipline, isn't it? Like, so I suppose time almost comes back to a bit of discipline, maybe.
Discipline's hugely important. I think that because I think that there's a lot of push about being motivated, isn't there? Motivated. Let's watch a video in the morning and get jacked up and let's own the day. And do you know what? There's definitely a place for that, and that definitely works. Motivation gets you started. Yeah. No, and listen, it works. It's so good. It really is good. But that's only part of the puzzle because the motivation gets you started. That gets you started. It's the discipline that gets you finished.
Oh, yeah.
That's the real thing there. Motivation gets you started. Discipline gets you finished.
And then you quite easily dive down if you don't, say.
Well, motivation. Yeah. It's up and down motivation. You'll be really peaking and then it's like, oh. And then so you need another pick-me-up. Let's watch another video. Let's listen to another podcast. Let's watch another show. It's like, whoa, I'm jacked up again. I'm firing. Let's go. And if you spent all your time just up and down, when really all you can do is, like, the better way would be to learn how to discipline yourself.
Oh, I feel like I'm having a therapy session here because I feel like I'm just talking about myself.
Yeah. Well, I mean, one of the things that I did is that I've actually built a framework that I use for myself and I introduce it to my clients for managing not just the time, but it's really effective for the goals as well. For people that's looking at setting goals. Yeah. And I call it ARC. And it's basically an acronym that I've created. And so the A represents achieve. So the very first question that you should ask yourself in terms of when you're planning your day or planning your goals, A, what do I want to achieve? Because again, as we said right at the start, most people can tell you what they don't want. Well, I don't want it to look like that, and I don't want it in that color, and I don't want it to be that size, and I don't want this, and I don't want that. But what we really need to do is dial in and find out, what is it that they want to achieve? What's the outcome? What is it that you really want from this? And then once we realize what that is, the next letter, the R, the reason. Why is it that you want this? What's the reason for wanting to achieve this? Because if it's just for the sake of looking good in front of people, or to, you know, like the amount of people that live in this Instagram life where everything's perfect and filtered, you know, it's just so false, isn't it? And so if your reason, oh God, if your reason is to look rich, like that's not the real game, is it? You know, the idea is to be rich, not look rich. And looking rich is no good.
Yeah,
I want to be rich. So it's like, what's the reason? What's the in your chest? You know, the thing that's going to really drive you to be disciplined and be motivated at the same time. You know, when you can put that together, motivation and discipline, that's real. That's a fire in your belly that you'll run through walls to get to your goal.
Yeah.
To finish the task at hand. And then the final thing is then C, create. And this is where a lot of people get unstuck with tasks and projects and goals, is that they sometimes have the clarity. They know what they want. The reason needs a little bit of work, but they're kind of there, but they don't know what to do because, again, they're waiting for somebody else to tell them what to do. They want somebody else to tell them the path that they should take or the footsteps that they need to follow, because they don't have the, and again, the reason is that they don't have the confidence, they don't have the certainty because they've not done it themselves before. So the easiest way for you to create some level of certainty is by breaking it down into small steps. And what I often say with the ARC framework is if you can break it into 3 steps that you can take immediately. So it doesn't have small little things that's going to move you towards what you're trying to do. And what that creates is momentum. And then once you have momentum, you'll find, like, you ever built a snowman and you start with a little ball on the floor and you roll it and it gets bigger and it gets bigger and it gets bigger. You've got momentum, haven't you, to keep it going? Yeah. Have you ever stopped and then tried to get it going again?
Yeah. I know what you mean.
It's hard work. It's hard work, if impossible, if not impossible. And so the idea behind breaking things down is it gets momentum behind it. So it starts you moving towards the things that you want, and you keep on going and keep on going and keep on going. And that's what the ARC framework really represents, is that you get the right outcome in mind. So what it is that you want to achieve, you've got the desire and the burning drive to pull you towards it, and you've got 3 instant actionable steps that's going to allow you to move towards it. And we know that there's a famous saying, and I forget who this one is actually, the quote, but one of the quotes is that if you don't have a plan for your life, you'll end up part of somebody else's plan. And guess what they've got in line for you? Not very much.
Yeah, they need you to help them, don't they?
Yeah. And so this allows you to take control, so that there's no frustration, there's no stress. You're moving towards the thing that you want. You're in control, and there's momentum that's driving you as well.
I like it. Very simple, but it just gives you just a straightforward plan, really, to put together, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
Makes so much sense.
It does. And I think that's the thing, is that we don't, again, like we said right at the start, we don't have to try and reinvent the wheel. If we can have a simple frame, we know the thing that's baking it, the thing that's behind it, the outcome that we're trying to achieve, then we'll stay focused on the things that we want, because, like I just said, then focus is real power.
Yeah. It's so easy to lose your focus as well, isn't it? It is so easy, like you say, oh, I need a drink, or I need some food, or such and such as, or something's pinged up on your phone, or you're on your computer and it's just pinged up something. You think, oh, I'll just message them. And then before you know it, you've got distracted by 4 other things and you've totally lost your focus. So it's
exactly, you've got
really done into
Very easy. I mean, yeah. And especially now, and I think that there was some research, I'm paraphrasing slightly, but I'm sure the research said something like the average person now gets interrupted every 16 minutes.
Oh.
And it takes them almost half an hour to get realigned and focused back on the task that they were doing.
Wow. It is hard, isn't it? Because like I said, I get in the zone, and then if I get distracted, I think, oh, I'll just do this for them. It'll be all right. It'll only take me 2 minutes. And it does only take 2 minutes, but then trying to get that zone back is so hard, isn't it?
It's very challenging. They call it, that zone is a wonderful book. And it's about, I'm just trying to think of the title now. It's something, I forget the title, but it's something about activating Superman or something like that, or bringing out your Superman. What it's about is how they get into flow, what we know as the zone, and they call it flow. And it's when you're like operating at like your peak state with complete like laser-like focus on the thing that you're doing, and they call it flow. It's really interesting.
Yeah, it sounds it. I might have to. I'll try and find that then, or between us we can try and find that, and I can share.
I'll dig out the name. And I'll let you know what it is. It's a fantastic book though. But I mean, like flow, there's loads of research in flow. I mean, that if you go to any of the TED Talks, if you like just type in TED Talk, flow, FLOW, there's a few different people that's talked about flow,
right?
And why it's really quite groundbreaking when you can activate it and get into that space. As you say, like you get focused in, you lose track of time, and you're just on it.
Yeah. It's like something I always say to people, some of my clients, like in the morning, I say, don't look at your phone straight away, or have everything off if you've got your motivational videos or whatever your podcast that you're listening to on your walk or anything like that as part of your routine. I always say, like, don't check your emails, don't check Facebook, don't check, all those little distractions, because before you know it, you've let that outside world come into your world before you've even had a chance to think about your day. So I guess it's stuff like that, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, like I do a morning ritual that I've been doing now for maybe 5 or 6 years. Maybe longer. I can't remember what it is. And so I get up early. I'm an early start. I'm up at 5:30. So I get an early start. And the first thing that we do is when we get up, we'll do a workout. So we'll do a cardio, like a HIIT workout, a high intensity workout. It's the very first thing we'll do. First thing. After that, we have breakfast, myself and my wife, we have breakfast together. And then what we'll do after that is we'll then meditate. So we'll do 10 minutes meditation. We'll take the dog for a walk, we'll read. So we'll read something for around 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And we'll do all that first before anything else in that day starts. And what that really does is it just gives you, if you can't find that bit of time and carve out that time for yourself in the morning, you know, the recipe that you're using is clearly wrong.
Yeah.
You're going to end up with a pancake rather than a Victoria sponge.
Which is never good.
Unless you want the pancake. Yeah.
Well,
Which
yeah.
ties back to the outcome. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really good, like, to start your day on your best foot. And again, if that is putting on some inspiration, whether it's music, I mean, music's powerful.
Yeah.
You know yourself, there's certain songs, you'll put a certain song on and your tears.
Yeah.
It reminds you of something that's really pulling on your emotions. Or you put another song on and it's like, oh my God, I just want to dance. And you want to jump around and you just feel alive again. And absolutely, like, if you, like, why would you not want to start your day? And that, if that's a video, if that's an inspiring video or something like that, then whatever you need to start the ritual for your day is a good way.
Yeah. I was speaking to a friend this morning, and we're like a bit accountability partners. So she goes running, and we sort of like just check in. So I've been running this morning just to make it's like you're going together, but you're not going together, obviously, in this current time. And she hurt her back the other day, so she's not been for a couple of days. So we knew she was having some time off. Anyway, this morning I spoke to her, and she said that she's she's found a mood change because she hasn't been able to go running or sticking to her morning routine that she does to set a day up. She's not done it, and she's found her focus has changed. She's been sort of a bit, I don't want to say moody, but like you can tell her.
I don't know.
and she's not
Yeah.
being herself.
Sure.
And so it can have a real impact on your mindset, can't it, and on your day if you don't
Massively.
start off well.
And I think, again, like, we don't realise how important the mindset really is. Like, to keep you focused and disciplined and inspired and driven and motivated, the mindset's got to be right. And that's why I say, like, the real key to being in control of the way that you manage your time is by making sure that you always focus on what the outcome is that you want to achieve. Because if you're just going to do the activity for the sake of doing the activity, it's very easy for you to think, do you know what, sod this, don't like it, everything's wrong. And like we said at the start, you're going to find the pain, you're going to find the pleasure, you're going to be, controlled by everybody else.
Yeah.
And so we have to constantly look at what's the best way to change. How do we improve? How do we upgrade? Like, you look at your phone, you get a new phone comes out every single year.
Yeah.
Every year a new phone comes out. Every week you need to upgrade the apps.
Oh, I know.
Every time I have a new update's needed. It's like, I've only did it yesterday. And then twice a year, twice or once or maybe twice a year, it's like you need to upgrade the software. The iOS needs upgrading again. And then there's a new phone out again. But how often do we upgrade our software?
Oh, yeah.
How often do we give ourselves an upgrade? So change is not about your ability. It's more about the things that drive you. And if you can find things that can drive you, you're prepared to be better. You're prepared to learn more because you want to achieve more and you want to get more and have more, whether that is financial or whether that is because of different driving forces behind it. Maybe you want to help people. Maybe you want to, inspire people, help them get out of their way, whether it could be money, like whatever it is. That's where change really happens, when you're finding the driving thing, the heart of it, the reason.
Yeah. I think it's so basically the key to sort of like good time management is having a good mindset as well, really, because to give you that discipline, give you that focus. And I guess in the current climate that we're in with the lockdown and the quarantine, I often do talk about mindset, and I think people think I'm bonkers because I'm always going on about not just being positive, but like you said, feeding your mind. And I suppose it is that, again, discipline, because if you've got a good mindset, when something like this is happening in the world, then it still helps you focus on what you need to do, on managing what's happening, and still
100%.
Yeah, because it's obviously we've got a business and we've got our personal life, and we've got to
we've got to do a lot of things. Yeah. Well, what you're talking about there, I call that personal power.
Oh, okay.
It's having personal power. And do you know the amount of books I've read over the years? I mean, I've got a library full of books in here, and I've got numerous on Audible and everywhere, ebooks and everything. Yeah. And do you know the amount of books that I've read that says the key to success is setting goals? And then there's another book saying, no. The key to success is time management. And then the next one's like, no. The key to success is sales. And then the next one, no, it's not. It's marketing. No, it's not. It's mindset. No, it's not. It's this. The amount of books that's out there saying this is the key to success, which is a lot to absorb.
Yeah.
When in reality, the real key to success is personal power. Everything that you've just said there, that's the key to success. It's the discipline, it's the drive, it's the control, it's the focus, it's that personal power that you've got. That's really the key to success for anybody.
Yeah, I like that. Personal power. Yeah.
Personal power.
Because I am a bit crazy. I do feel like, I'm just visualizing myself with like a Superman outfit on with a big P on the front, and I feel like, anyway, that's another conversation. That's just me. And I'm literally seeing it now, and I'm like, yeah, personal power. I like that. I like to.
Like this.
Exactly that.
Do you know what though, Louisa? I did again. This is a blog I wrote about this again, probably a few years ago. Okay. And they call it power posing.
Right. Oh yeah.
This has actually been researched. It's true. And the idea is a power pose. So this is considered a power pose.
Right.
or something like this.
Okay.
These are considered power poses. And what the research actually, there's a TED talk again. If you Google TED talk power pose,
Right.
you'll find it on there. And there's a woman who's done a load of research into this. And what happens is if you spend literally just I think it was 60 seconds in a power pose like this before you're about to do something that's tasking, whether that is confrontational, whether it's something that's a bit daring, or something that would usually make you feel uncomfortable. If you do a power pose for literally 60 seconds, what it does is it changes the chemicals in our body, and it gives us more confidence. It makes us more risk aware, averse, and it allows you to be able to do things that you once thought was a little bit more challenging. And they call it power posing. It's really good.
That's it then. I'm going to be stood in front of that mirror later, giving myself all this.
That's it. So that's it. Go and put your Superman suit on with your power pose, and away you go.
I will do that. You often see people's pictures, actually. Sorry, this is just digressing a bit, but you do. I see a lot of people's pictures, and they're all like this or like this as a power pose. I guess now you're saying that, but I actually, obviously, for how it makes you feel as a person, I think that's amazing, and I will definitely be trying it. But you know, like on a picture, when you see somebody like a business owner and they're like this, so I don't always find it. I don't know, empowering. I find it a bit like almost a bit standoffish. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Anyway, that's just a total.
No, but I get that. I totally understand that, and I think that again, what that comes back to is one of the things you said right at the start, which is, in fact, I don't know if you said it. We might have said this off camera actually, but one of the things we said right at the start was about getting real clarity of your audience.
Yes.
You know, because like if that's gonna rub people the wrong way up.
Yeah.
You know, and they're going to be put off by you, then the likelihood is everything that you do is probably going to put them off.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So you're just not the right audience for that person, and that's probably the reality behind it. And I think there's a quote somewhere. I don't know who it is. I actually really dislike this quote, really, but it makes a lot of sense. And the quote says, "They attract your tribe." Okay. And I hate saying it. It almost gives me teeth. Like toothache thinking about it. It's that cheesy and tacky, but so true. Like your vibe really does attract your tribe, and I think that is so true. Is that if you can be the most authentic version of you and hold nothing, you know, don't say that you're one type of person and act something completely different. That's going to cause a lot of internal issues later on, you know, for you.
Yeah.
If you can be the authentic version of you, you'll attract the right kind of people towards you. And everyone else that doesn't, well, you'll repel them.
Fair enough. And I guess for us as salon owners, we need to let our personality out, because I think that's what people come in for. Because obviously you're not going to sit there and have a treatment done by anybody who you don't like. So it's quite important. Yeah.
I suppose in many ways, like people coming to you guys, it's a bit like therapy in many ways. You know, they're allowed to sound off and talk to you and express. Really be able to share that with you.
Oh yeah, we do hear a lot of things that we possibly shouldn't hear, and we do take a lot on. But you're building relationships, and I know every business is about building relationships, but I think definitely in the salon side, we really are building that like personal one-to-one relationship. But I know we've jumped from time management, but just thinking back to time management, that is a massive part of our job in itself. But you've got to have that relationship with clients, and you're managing everything, you know, in one go there. So you've got to have your look. Totally. You've got to appeal to people, and you've got to run on time. Otherwise, you're just going to feed off.
Absolutely. I mean, totally. And I mean, just coming back to what you just said, then you got to have the look. Do you know, like what I said earlier about taking advice from someone in a Ford Escort if you wanted to buy a Ferrari. You know, would you take advice over someone in the beauty industry if they didn't take pride in their appearance?
Yeah, true.
Maybe do you know what I mean? Like if you're going for someone to talk to you about how to have wonderful skin, then I'd hope that they'd have wonderful skin themselves.
Yeah.
You know, or if I'm going to take advice from someone about how to have a flowing lock of hair, You wouldn't come to a bald guy. You know? Hopefully you wouldn't speak to a bald guy. Unless that guy was a very highly skilled technician and practitioner in being a flock of beauty with hair.
Do you know what though? I used to have an amazing hairdresser and he was bald. And it's not exactly, you know, because you didn't look after your hair, is it? So you can be let off for that one.
But that's what I'm saying, like, unless they are really highly competent in that space, then listen, you know, we're often told not to judge a book by its cover, but let's call a spade, you know. We all do.
Yeah.
Everybody will judge a book by its cover. We all do that. We all do it. So if we know that that's the case, then we've got to be able to utilize the rules that we've been given.
Yeah. And especially in our job, I think people, you are, I don't know if judged is the right word, because we definitely don't judge in our salon, but I think the customers coming in can judge, because they judge whether they like the space, they like what space they're in, and whether they're actually feeling comfortable there, because at the end of the day, that's their time that they're giving up.
That's where they're spending.
Where, isn't it? So it does all play.
And they're paying.
Exactly, yes.
I remember a story, and it's like, I remember telling this story to my mom years ago, and my mom, God bless her, she's an amazing mom, she's wonderful, and I don't know whether it's an age thing, but she's negative, like super negative. I don't know if that's just an age thing, and I don't think she even realizes how negative she is, but she thrives on it. She'd rather tell you the bad news rather than tell you the good news. You know?
More exciting. People love it, don't they? Because you're just if you're saying good news, people just think, oh, you're just bragging. Yeah. Whereas I quite like good news. So
yeah. But she loves telling the negativity first, and then it's like, Mom, I don't want to know about that. Tell me something good that's happened. But I remember telling her a story a long time ago about prejudging people, and the story is that you've got two people walking down the street on either side. One guy is dressed with scruffy jeans, all ripped, dirty, mucky, stained vest, long, scruffy hair, stubble, looks really dirty. The other side of the road, you've got a guy suited, booted, shirt and a tie, highly polished shoes, cufflinks. What's your opinion on these two people? Tell me about the guy in the suit. She's like, well, obviously he's a business guy, looks like he's successful, you know, good character. And what about the other guy? Wears a bit of a bum, so he don't really take much care in his appearance. He's a bit of a, probably a layabout, maybe he signs on, benefits, whatever it may be. And I said, well, the reality is that the guy who's scruffy is Mick Jagger. He's a multimillionaire. The guy with the suit and the polished shoes has just come back from being in court for armed robbery.
Wow, yeah.
and the funny thing is, I hear her telling that story. Prejudge, whether that's consciously or subconsciously, we will all prejudge. Whether, like, the minute someone walks into your salon, as you just said, they'll make a decision based on how it looks, the way it smells, the people that's in there, the way that you greet them. All these things will make a huge opinion for them in terms of what their thoughts are, their opinion about the place, about you as a whole.
Absolutely. And then if you run late as well, that's, you know, or on time, that can have another vibe.
Exactly. It changes everything. And what's the saying? You don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
True. And it's it can be hard, can't it? But yeah, I love stuff like that, and I love looking at all these things, like how we're talking about it. I think everything, you focus on one side of things, like when you're working on your business, so to speak, or on your own life, you focus on, say, time management, but then you don't realise how all those other bits, so when they're saying create success and you have this is the way forward, but actually they all play their parts in so many different ways.
Of course.
And like you said, and then you get your power, your personal power, when you get them all right.
And it's important to listen to feedback, do you know, and I don't mean necessarily feedback from other people. I mean in terms of the feedback from results that you're getting. Do you know, this is really key. And I think that I had a conversation with somebody a couple of months ago before all this started, and they were feeling the financial pinch a little bit. And I said to them, listen, you've not woke up this morning in a financial tight situation. You've seen this coming for months. You've just chose to ignore it.
Yeah.
You don't wake up in a mountain load of debt. It happens over a period of time, and you've got to be able to look for the feedback, listen to what's going on, see and spend time. Don't bury your head. You can see this happening. And likewise, success works the same way. You don't wake up one morning successful. You wake up one morning successful because of the things that you've done over a period and stacked up. And so it's really important that we pay attention to this feedback as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that, because it's so easy just to sort of like ignore something or think, oh, it'll be fine. And I think you can sometimes mistake that attitude for almost being positive, but it's not that.
It's naive. It's called being naive.
Yeah. You've got to be aware of even the negatives, and when things are happening, like at the minute things are happening, I guess, you know, it's trying to see the positives, acknowledge what's happening, but almost like think, right, what can I do? What things can I put in place for when we reopen? Or almost, can you get a sideline to your business, and then how you can manage all of that? There's so many different avenues that you could do if you wanted to.
Absolutely. And I mean, like one of the things you were saying earlier on when you were looking on my website, one of the things that I've kind of really trying to help people with at the minute is how they can build the first online course. So important right now for people to, as you just said, is to have that transition where they have a sideline or something else that they can work on. And I think that with the exception for a very, very few, in fact, businesses, there's an online course for everybody out there. You know, teach them how to do something, show them the experience, even whether it's massages, show them the techniques they can do themselves, whether it's food and nutrition, whether it's, you know, coaching tips and whatever there is.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity for everybody to move in. Again, one of the things that I transitioned slightly in these challenging times is that I put together some free courses for people to help them transition online and build their first online course. So it's important that we all do this.
Yes. Yeah, we've got to find that transition. I think so many people, again, are burying their head, or can be burying their head, instead of thinking of a sideline, and maybe it could actually change the way that you run your business. And I think that's amazing, and I will share your website in the comments as well.
I appreciate it. Yeah, thank you.
All right with you.
Of course it is, absolutely. I appreciate that, yeah.
Because then people can get in touch and they can have a look at your online course, or like your ebooks and stuff like that you've got.
Sure.
And I think it does us good to feed ourselves with lots of information, chat to different people, and you can take a lot away from a lot of different people. And again, the feedback, you need to pay attention.
And as you just said, like rightly so, is that the person that stood like this on the photos or in the power shots or whatever it is might rub you up the wrong way. Some people might find themselves drawn towards that. So again, like I think that we spend, as people, we spend way too much time agonizing and worrying about what other people think of us.
Yeah.
Oh, well, what if I post that? Are they going to think this? Are they going to do? And the amount of time we spend worrying and stressing and agonizing, when in reality, sorry to disappoint anyone, but most people don't think about you nowhere near the amount of times you think they do. It just doesn't happen. They're probably thinking themselves, like, how am I going to get to Tesco's? I need some toilet rolls or whatever it may be.
Yeah, exactly. But I think you're right there, but it's that saying again, isn't it, that you can't please everybody all of the time. So some people will see your post and they will actually quite like it, and then other people will see it and think, ooh. So it's just how it goes into the joys of business and being personal life. So it's just
exactly
how it is.
And it is how it is. I mean, like you know yourself, you get a room full of people. Let's say you've got 20 people in a room, and all these people are looking at you. And from them 20 people, 5 decide that they don't like you. Where do you focus your attention?
Yeah, you should
on
be
those
others.
Yeah, but you focus all your attention on the 5 because they don't like you, and you're thinking, oh, I want to be loved by everybody.
Yeah,
but you've got 15 people who, and you spend all that extra effort and energy trying to win the 5 over, rather than actually satisfying the 15 who's already loving you and respecting you.
Yeah. It's so true that we can all do that, can't we? So, but
always.
But I know we could talk forever about all the different aspects. So just for today, what top tip would you leave us with today to manage our time better? Not just in the current crisis climate that we're in, but just in general.
Sure. In general. So just to go back to the start, the outcome, really think about what it is that you want to achieve. Don't fall foul of based business where all you're doing is just doing activity after activity after activity, hoping that something's going to work. You know, get a really clear plan. Like, what is it that we want to get? What's the outcome? And then link that outcome to key results. So what key results do I need to get in order to move towards this outcome? And then key results will tell you what activity you need to do. So where most people, they'll start with the activity and they'll think, well, I'll do some social media posts, I'll do some emails, I'll do some videos, I'll do some blogs, I'll network, I'll do some referrals. Like, they'll do all this kind of stuff because they're seeing everybody else doing it, but they don't realize that that needs to be backed up to something else.
Yeah.
So that should be the thing that you do last. So start with the end in mind. And one of the phrases that I often say to people is, when do you think it's the best time to build a house?
Okay.
And the best time to build a house is finished. The best time to build a house is once it's finished. And what I mean by that is that if you look at any builder that's building houses, they don't lay or start building the foundation until they've got a blueprint that tells them exactly how it needs to look.
Yeah.
So the best tip I can say is build your blueprint. Think of what the outcome is that you want, and then decide what activity you need to do after.
Like it. So we need to get building blueprints.
Building blueprints. Yep. Definitely so.
Excellent. I love it. Oh, thank you so much for coming on, John. I feel like I've learned loads about myself. I've had a therapy session. It's been brilliant. It's been so good.